like Michelle said, I've worked at a rural critical access hospital since 2014. We have about 250 births a year, just to put that in perspective. Pretty small in the scope of things. So the way it works when you're in that kind of a facility with that kind of volume is sometimes it's feast and we're full, and sometimes we might be closed for a week and not see anybody. And that's how it kind of works with lactation there also. I mean, there is definitely an ebb and flow to it, just like with labor and delivery. So I decided that I wanted to pursue becoming an IBCLC. I already worked in the obstetric space, and at a small facility like that, we do everything. We do triage, labor and delivery, postpartum, the whole gamut. So I guess had always had it in the back of my mind since I went to nursing school. I did a rotation at St. Luke's in Boise, and there spoke with the lactation consultant there, and found that very interesting. And what an awesome thing to help feed babies. That's just so cool. And at that time, when I first became a nurse, I had one child, and then shortly after I became a nurse, also I had my second child and breastfed both of them, and had my own little challenges in that, and just thought, wow, that would be a really fun thing to do. I guess I've always had interest in OB, and in working in that area, especially in the kind of place that I am, we didn't have a whole lot of support resources for people. At the time that I had my daughter, which was 8 years ago, we had a nurse who was on the verge of retirement who was working at the pediatric clinic that we have here in town that would see people for lactation. She wasn't an IBCLC, but she had done some education and she would help people. And she was really it for breastfeeding support. So we didn't have an IBCLC here in LeGrand in my city. There was a couple, if you were willing to travel an hour or so to get to some support. There were a couple people that had at other small hospitals that had certified. So I decided to pursue it for that reason, because I guess I worked night shift for a lot of years. And if you have somebody with breastfeeding problems on night shift, it makes for that's what you're doing all night long is you're at the bedside helping with breastfeeding. And I thought to myself, I just think we can do better. I think that there's more help that we can provide people if we're all really well educated. And I had kind of just the experiences that I had myself and what I learned from, doing that work, and the extra education that I sought, and my coworkers and their experiences being labor and delivery nurses. And that was kind of, I just felt like, this would be really great if I could just expand my knowledge here. And I didn't really necessarily intend to be doing it all of my time. But when I certified, we kind of got a little coalition of community members from our Babies First program and some other local organizations. We got some grant money. We got, just everybody was in support of, yes, this is something we need here to be able to offer this to people. And so we got it off the ground, and I work part-time 2 days a week, seeing inpatients and outpatients. So usually I come in the morning and get report with everybody, and then do rounds with inpatients. And especially if I have a lot of open availability in my schedule, I'll sometimes be spending a lot of time in the room helping with feedings and doing education. And then also just taking outpatients, sometimes for prenatal appointments, most often for postpartum appointments when people go home, which is awesome. And the thing that I really love about that is just getting to follow people, especially if they are having problems. Sometimes we'll have several visits and we get to know each other, and it's really awesome to help people meet their goals and to help see people's confidence grow. It's fun to see that when moms are confident and they're like, I got this now, like I'm good. So that's probably my favorite part of it. And yeah, and I still love working on the floor just as a nurse, labor and delivery, postpartum. So I do that here and there, and I'm able to help when I'm available, and also do things like I talk at prenatal class and supervise our staff education for the breastfeeding and just infant feeding component. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Emily. Would you have any, we don't have a clear sense if there's anyone else from more less metropolitan areas, but would you have any words directed to people that live in a less populated area?
Yeah, I think that networking is really important, especially in smaller areas, because you have to really, like, you know, I know my people at the Norco that fills scripts. I know my WIC people. I know, you know, my baby's first ladies and all that sort of stuff, and just kind of having those connections so that you know also where you can send people to if they need other resources, and also so that people know who you are, so that if they're helping someone that needs your help, that, you know, you all kind of have that relationship established. So I think that, and then also just, you do have less opportunities for experiences in a smaller area, just because, like, volume.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think I certified through Pathway 1, and I wished that I would have had the opportunity to do something like a Pathway 2 program. I just thought, man, that would have been so awesome to go get to spend time with people who do this all the time. So I really think for people who are not, like, for people who have the opportunity to do something like a Pathway 2 or a Pathway 3, I think that that's awesome. It's great that we're able to certify through Pathway 1 and have that available so that there are more IBCLCs. But I just think if you get whatever experiences you can. Like, I've sought those out on my own and have done a lot of extra things to be able to give myself, you know, those extra bits of kind of tying things together through the years. But I think that's an awesome thing that PSU offers.